Hello and welcome to Western Edge Living. I'm your host, Wild Bill, also known as Bill Polnick, and thank you for tuning in. There's a lot of things you could be doing right now, and here you are watching our show. We greatly appreciate that. We are the voice of Western North Dakota for great people like today's voice, coming from none other than the Marketing and Events Director for the City of Dickinson, Joel Walter. Good to see you, Joel.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate
it. We're gonna be talking about something that I've been wanting to talk about for some time, and that is the all-new Legacy Square in downtown Dickinson. So we're looking forward to hearing what you got to say about that.
Great.
I got some items I got to cover for the City of Medora, the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. So you go ahead and hydrate while I take care of that. It's important that our guests hydrate, Joel, because we had one interview, Ron, we couldn't even air the one. It was so dry. So go ahead and hydrate, and we'll talk about the Medora musical that's coming up June through September. And there's special dates like the 60th edition show. It's the 60th year of the Medora musical, and we're looking forward to finding out more about that. I was at the very first musical there ever was. My mom was a journalist, and she was invited by Harold Schaefer to come attend that. So we're looking forward to the 60th edition show. There's also the Veterans Appreciation Show at the Medora musical, the Summer Concert Series, and lots more. And Joe Wiegand, who is part of the cast now at the Medora musical, is going to be joining us on an episode of Western Edge Living. We're looking forward to talking to Joe. And as long as Joe is going to be on the show, we might as well have Theodore Roosevelt on the program as well. Speaking of Theodore Roosevelt, when you do go to Medora, drive up to the musical, and the parking lot on the west end is where they are building the all-new Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. And I am in awe at the size and the scope of this wonderful facility that's under construction. The plan is for that to open on July 4th, 2026, and it's pretty amazing. It's pretty breathtaking. Drive up and see some of the construction in progress right now at the Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library. At the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame last year, we implemented what's called our volunteer program, and it is going gangbusters. There's a lot of great information on our website, northdakotakowboy.org, that tells you about the volunteer program. But you get perks like a place to stay. We've got a beautiful apartment facility in Medora that you can stay at. We got perks like Medora musical tickets and also food vouchers and things. So if you'd like to spend some time in Medora and spend some time at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame as our volunteer, get a hold of us at area code 701-623-2000, and we will put you in touch with the folks that are in charge of our volunteer program. Also, coming up in July, looking forward to emceeing the National Day of the Cowboy celebration. It's always the fourth Saturday in July, and this year we have Don Newland and Kimberly Bachman, two authors that are going to be portraying some of the books that they've written. We also have cowboy singer-songwriter Greg Hager is going to be part of the celebration, as well as cowboy poet Carson Hauser. So we're looking forward to the National Day of the Cowboy, July 27th, at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame. And of course, for information on all the above, just go to Medora.com or NorthDakotaCowboy.org. Joel, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. It's something we do not take for granted, so welcome to the show. What would you be doing if you weren't here right now?
If I were not here right now, we'd be busy working on just trying to get a lot of our last-minute details for the programming lined up for Dickinson Legacy Square, which all begins as early as this weekend. Friday the 31st is our first official event, and we've got a movie night scheduled this Friday, so lots of things in play.
Well, we're going to definitely focus on Legacy Square. But let's talk about you first of all. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school?
I am a North Dakota native. I have been in North Dakota my whole life. I've never lived anywhere else, and I'm proud of that. I grew up in the early years in Grand Forks, and then moved out here in 1997 to Dickinson, which I call home. Okay. And minus a few years when I lived in Fargo for graduate school, I have been here ever since.
You're well known in our community of Dickinson for your musical talents and your contributions to music. How did that begin, and what have you done?
I have done music most of my life. It was kind of my thing, so to speak, growing up, and I was homeschooled in the early years, and then Dickinson State was where I chose to pursue my undergraduate degree, and started there with music. and also studied communications there, and then went on to graduate school in Fargo at North Dakota State University to get my master's degree in music. And then, you know, the way things sort of fall out, I've taught in higher education for about 12 years now, and at the same time worked in a lot of different marketing and communications capacities in Dickinson as well.
What lit the flame? What sparked you? What was it about music? What inspired you, Joel, to become involved in music?
Years ago, I think it was probably a pianist that we had at our church. She was fantastic, and I remember as a little kid just watching her play, and that really was my first exposure, and I just couldn't get enough. And then I had great teachers all the way up from K through 12 and into college that continued to inspire me and to kind of push me in that direction. That's something I've loved and enjoyed every minute of, and I continue to use it in a variety of capacities now. Maybe less performing than I used to do, but certainly now in the area of arts administration and organization and that kind of thing as well. So,
did your parents, did your siblings, you mentioned your teachers, they all inspired you to do this, but did they encourage you? Did they give you the support?
Absolutely, yeah. My parents were, big advocates of everything that we expressed interest in, and music was, in fact, for all three of us, my two siblings and myself, a big thing. My sister also is pretty well known in the area for music, and she's traveled internationally singing and doing all kinds of great things, and continues to do that. She's out of state these days, but she and my brother, all three of us were very active in music. So I suppose that is handed down from our parents who genuinely loved music and were very good and gifted at it themselves, and so it's kind of been a family business, so to speak.
Music, is that your happy place?
That's my happy place.
I think
Yep.
it would be,
Yeah.
yes. So, okay. Then, Legacy Square, of course, it stemmed from events like Alive at 5 and First on First and things like that. And one question that I've been dying to ask you, if you can elaborate on the fact, is this a national trend, these outdoor music venues? I think of South Dakota. In Sioux Falls, they've got a facility called Levitt Square or Leavitt Square. There's a facility in Rapid City, Outlaw Square in Deadwood, South Dakota. I know Williston has some outdoor venues. Is this a trend nationwide?
I think it really is. The whole idea of having an outdoor venue, whether it's just for performance or anything that would add to the vibrance of a downtown community, that is definitely a growing trend, has been for years. The idea of that walkability piece throughout our downtown communities, giving people a place to gather, a place to sort of congregate, and within that, then to also offer entertainment. We've seen that grow. There's a lot of studies out there now, many books written on the topics of downtown growth, what that does for your local economy, what that does to really boost the local business and really to enhance that local business culture. Of course, in Dickinson, we have some great programs like Shop Local. And a lot of that is not just featured on downtowns, but on local business as a whole. But I think adding a venue like this really gives people a sort of a centralized local place where they can come congregate, where local businesses can come out and be represented in the form of vendors and can participate in these events. And of course, hosting these in a downtown area, which it's not the only place that local businesses exist, but obviously, and traditionally we have a good pool of local businesses within our downtown area, so to speak, and what is downtown Dickinson is kind of that vague concept right now. There's a large area within downtown Dickinson, sort of surrounding Villard Street, and now around the Legacy Square area that we would consider downtown, and a lot of great businesses featured there and have been for many years.
And I believe that in a post-pandemic world like this, and the state of affairs in the world in 2024, it brings the community together.
Agreed.
And that's just something that I think is so valuable and so precious. I mean, I remember going to events last year and seeing how everybody was together and smiling and enjoying, a common interest. It was wonderful. The planning, how did the planning process, as far as you know, Joel, how did that transpire in deciding how this was going to be built?
We had some great visionaries in our community who understood the value of these downtown venues, and I was not a part of the process at that point. We had some very influential business owners, Christy Schwartz being one of them, and other members of what was the Downtown Dickinson Association, and then we also have the Downtown Improvement District, and both of these organizations sort of working in tandem in the early stages to help not only visualize, but then get out there and do that early planning and putting all of the donations in place. And we had fantastic donors within our community who gave very generously to see that this would become a possibility. Of course, in the early stages, and when you're going through all of that planning, you're looking at all sorts of different possible locations. And as I understand it, and remember, just sort of watching from the outside at that point, there was a handful of very viable locations where this venue could have been placed. As a city employee and someone who's working now from City Hall, I'm glad that it ended up where it did, because it's quite literally outside my office window, and so I have a great view of that, and it makes it very accessible for me on a daily basis when we're doing programming. But there were a lot of great options, a lot of very, very energetic and dedicated people who really kind of took the lead on this and saw to it that it became a reality. So.
At what point did you step in?
I stepped in right before the keys were turned over to the city officially. We had, and of course, every spring, as we all know, is different in North Dakota, and no two are the same. And so we had some late winter weather in 2022, and we kind of were a little apprehensive as to when we'd be able to begin programming, but we had to start somewhere. And so we just sort of threw a date on the calendar and said, we're going to program end of June, and we're going to see what happens. And so I began the fall before that, or I should say the fall of 2022, I should say. And then so the programming began in the spring of 23. But during that time, we just really had to kind of just assume it was all going to fall into place, and it did. And so I came in right as we were finishing up the construction and got to be a part of those final stages there, and then the keys were turned over, and we just hit the ground running.
2023, a successful year. 2024, looking great, and we're going to talk about both of those when we come back. So don't forget to hydrate, Joel, okay? It's a requirement of the show. Joel Walter, our guest today on Western Edge Living here on Consolidated, and we're back in just a moment. We're back on Western Edge Living, and our guest.
Being affected with hearing loss is a common problem, but it made me feel detached from those around me, particularly loved ones. Finally, I made the decision to contact Alliance Center for Hearing in Bismarck. They understand hearing loss and are very thorough in testing, diagnosis, and recommending a solution. Contact Alliance Center for Hearing to begin your journey to better hearing. Alliance Center for Hearing gave me my hearing back, which brought me closer to those who matter most in my life.
Here's your Lotus Energy drink.
Thanks so much. Can I pay my consolidated bill online?
We have an app for that. Can I get a text on my phone when my bill is due?
We have an app for that.
Download the Consolidated My Account app today and take control of your account with useful features like viewing or paying your bill right on your phone. Never miss a payment again with the Consolidated My Account app, available free at the App Store or Google Play.
At Ponchero's, we don't just make burritos. We build them for a full-on flavor experience when you eat it. Ponchero's. Come build your better. At Ponchero's, we mix our ingredients so that all the right stuff is in all the right places. Ponchero's. Come build your better.
Howdy from Medora Boot and Western Wear. Come see us for all the latest and quality top-of-the-line merchandise for everyone in your family. Ladies absolutely love the selection of jeans, shirts, jackets, boots, dresses, you name it. Medora Boot and Western Wear's got it. And they carry a great line of men's clothing, too. Guys, be sure to check out the Scully line of leather jackets. Open 10 a.m. every day except Tuesdays. Medora Boot and Western Wear in historic Medora. Come see us.
Medora Boot and Western Wear.
Service Pro Express Lube, now open on East Villar Dickinson. Gets your vehicle serviced quickly and you're back on the road in no time. No appointment required. You don't even get out of your vehicle. They utilize Service Pro oil, the only oil produced and refined in the U.S., and it meets or exceeds vehicle manufacturer requirements. Plus, they top off all fluids and perform multi-point inspections. It's part of what's offered at Service Pro Express Lube. Students looking for a part-time gig? Inquire at Service Pro Express Lube. Ask about the Scholarship Incentive Program. Service Pro Express Lube, East Villar Dickinson, next to Lucky's.
We're back on Western Edge Living, and our guest today, Joel Walter with the Legacy Square in Dickinson. And gosh, look what happened to, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that one of your most successful shows last year, as far as attendance goes, was Tiger Lily, who is now Tiger Lily Gold. And here they were on the Academy of Country Music Awards the other night.
Yeah, it was by far our biggest concert of the year, and we kind of anticipated that it might be, but I think we were all a bit surprised by where that evening ended up, and it was a fantastic concert. And weather tried to get in our way, but we managed to bounce back from that at the last minute, and we still were able to pull off a great evening of music. So yeah, they've done fantastic for themselves even just within this last year. So we are very grateful that we were able to have them here when we did. We had a great lineup last year, and again, as I said, it was kind of one of those things where we just had to kind of program, not knowing exactly what dates we would have available to us. But I've had a great amount of support going into our first year. There's been a lot of players in the game as we've tried to conceptualize what Legacy Square could be and then actually make that happen.
I think that you're carrying on a tradition, because years ago when Rough Rider days, they had Brad Paisley and they had Rascal Flatts, and look what happened to those two artists. Yep. And here you brought in Tiger Lily, now Tiger Lily Gold, and they look like they are on a rocket ship to stardom. Some other acts last year, the Gary Richrath tribute band, that was awesome. As was Ron Keel. There's some friends of mine in that band, and gosh, I think for your debut last year, I think you did quite well. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. We had a great tradition to follow. There's been some excellent years of live programming in downtown Dickinson, so we were excited to be able to continue that tradition at Legacy Square. And it's always interesting when you add an actual venue in place, when it's no longer maybe a street concert, but now we have a venue and people have to learn how to interact with that venue, how that all transpires. But people really seem to enjoy it. We had got great feedback last year for the programming, but also for the venue, the physical venue itself. And so we had big shoes to fill, and I feel like we really stepped into that last year aggressively, and I'm excited for where this next year will take us with the people that we have lined up.
Yes, and gosh, I couldn't imagine that you're more excited about one event or the other, because there's some good things coming up at Legacy Square Thursday nights through the summer. And Eli Young Band is one that, how in the heck, I'm sure a lot of your friends are asking you, how did you ever acquire them to come and play a free concert in Dickinson? Yeah,
we have a great lineup this year, and I will say, when I talk about the sort of the group effort, the team effort that it takes, to put all these kind of concerts in place, we have a great booking company that we work with out of Minneapolis. So it's not just me on the phone with agents calling people up and saying, hey, I want you, although that is a part of it, depending on which band we're talking about. But got a great team in Minneapolis working for us, helping us secure these groups. And I want to stress the fact, for those who may not have come down last year and who may not be familiar with the tradition of live music in downtown Dickinson, that everything is free. So you'd be paying a pretty penny for these admission tickets to get into these kind of events if you were going somewhere else. We're excited to be able to offer all of these things, not only Eli Young, which I do think is going to be the highlight of the summer, but we have Warrant coming down this year as well. Last year we tried to bring Kat Perkins in. Weather had other ideas, and so we were able to reschedule her, again, her and her band, for this summer. So we're excited to bring someone local, regional, to the stage again, along with a lot of other artists. And we've got a wide variety this year. And every year we're going to try different things to see what takes and what doesn't. One of the new things this year is the comedy night. And that's not something that we've necessarily included in a concert lineup to this point, but it's a trend again as well. I think stand-up comedy is kind of making a resurgence lately, and I'd like to see where that goes in Dickinson and see if that's something that we want to continue with. We're also doing an event called Brushes and Beats. New idea this year as well. Being someone who's been heavily involved in the arts, I'm all about the idea of arts fusion and finding ways to combine different types of art, different mediums of art, genres of art together. And so we're going to be doing live painting on stage or throughout the venue. At the same time, we're going to have a live group on stage singing and performing music of the 1950s and 60s. And so I think it'll be a unique night.
You're getting creative with this, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trying to.
Man, that's fun. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah, so I think we can do that along with We tried all kinds of things last year. We had some great holiday events, things themed around fall, a maker's market really to feature not only the vendors and what they have to sell, but the process behind that. And so, really we have the opportunity to think outside the box here, and that's what we're trying to do.
We should mention, too, to the viewer that these acts, these groups and things that we're talking about, we haven't touched on the exact dates, but you can find all that on your Facebook page, correct? Legacy
Facebook
Square?
or website, yeah.
Okay.
DickinsonGov.com /Legacy Square will take you right to our Legacy Square downtown Dickinson page, and from there then you can sort of dig around. You'll find our full concert lineup. Facebook is, of course, a great place to find that as well. We're very interactive there, and we get a lot of questions on, hey, how can I contact you? Where can we reach out to you? And one of the places that we encourage you to do that is through the Facebook Messenger option. But of course, everything is linked to our website where you can send emails, make phone calls, get a hold of us, and we're happy to visit with you and talk about the season. And people have ideas, great ideas. They bring to us sometimes in terms of, hey, we want to try this event, and if we can pull that off, and if it fits within the guidelines and the scope of what we're able to do at Legacy Square, we're happy to do that.
Okay, terrific. You mentioned Warrant. What's the date on that?
That is, and I'm going to try to remember here and not get this incorrect, it's August 8th. Thank you. Yes, August 8th.
I heard our producer, Ron Rhodes, and he's got something tied in with that.
He does. Lipstick Betty is opening for Warrant that night.
Lipstick Betty. Now, how are they to work with? Did you go over their rider? Did you find the vodka clause in their rider, Joel? That's important that you find that.
They're easy to work with. They were one of the easiest last year, so we're excited to have them back.
Ron, our producer, is part of that group. Looking forward to that, and I know he's pretty excited about performing for Warrant. Oh man, I saw them. In the '80s when they were hot. They had their original lead singer, the young man Jamie, who passed away, and wow. I think there was some extra technical things that were involved in facilitating them at Legacy Square. Was there not?
There is, and the more advanced the groups that we bring in are, then yes, to your point, the riders get a little bit more demanding, but that's just par for the course, and we're excited for that. We're really looking forward to getting things in place so that we can host that level of artists here at Legacy Square. And of course, it's not an enormous stage, but it's compatible with what a lot of these groups need, and a lot of them are very excited to be a part of, as we talked about at the beginning, this downtown trend. They want to come and perform in outdoor venues. They want to perform at these free community gatherings, and so I'm excited to be able to offer just a wide variety, not only to our community, but then something unique like this to some of these bands that maybe haven't performed in Dickinson, North Dakota ever before.
What is your hope for Legacy Square? You personally, Joel, not as take that business cap and set it aside, but you personally, what do you want to see happen at Legacy Square in the years to come?
Being someone who is involved in the arts so heavily, I want to see this be something that is not just strictly about the concerts. They're wonderful, and that's obviously a big part of what we do. It's a big piece of our budget, but I want this, in my own mind, I want the arts community to grow because of this venue. I want to be able to, and we've already seen that happen within the first year. Groups coming out of the woodworks that want to perform. We've had theater, we've had opera, we've had rock and country. We've got the city band lined up to perform this year out there. I want this to be something where all the different artists in the community have a place to come and perform. But I want to stress also the fact that it's not just musical programming that we're doing. We've got a lot of non-musical stuff, and so as we talked about it being a venue that is family friendly, we want to program for everyone in the community, and that's what we're trying to do. And that is part of our mission and part of our goal as a city venue. But we've got an event coming up in August called Doc Dogs. You may or may not be familiar with that, but it is sort of a sports show, and if you've been to any of the state sports shows like in Bismarck and other areas, other communities throughout the state, they bring in basically just a huge pool, and they have these sporting dogs where they do retrieving events and competitions and stuff, and it's actually they take it all around the country. It's a very popular event, and so we're bringing that in late August, and we're hoping to kind of turn that and expand that into a little bit more of a sports show.
That is fantastic. I've raised golden retrievers,
there you go.
So I can't wait for for
Yeah.
this event. That is
You would enjoy
fantastic.
it.
What I'm hearing, Joel, if somebody has an idea
Yeah.
and they think that this would be a great a venue to maybe hold a night, can they come in and run it by you and,
Sure.
and see what your thoughts are on that?
You bet. And they're welcome to do that. We have a rental policy in place and a fee schedule in place for that, and so there's a lot of different options depending on what a person wants to do and what their vision is for this. And we try to be as accommodating as we can with that, within the scope of what we're able to allow, and we invite people to come in with the ideas. It takes not only just staff to put these kind of things on, but also volunteers. And sometimes when people come in with a great idea, they also have a pool of people who are able to help them pull that off. And so, we can get the community involved not only in coming down and enjoying it, but also in helping us plan and put these things on. We would love that.
Okay, as we started out, your time is valuable. We don't take it for granted. So as we turn you loose today, Joel, I know you got to get back to your duties with Legacy Square. Is there any question that I haven't asked, that some information perhaps that you'd like to share with our viewers today?
One of the things, I guess that's a question I have for you, and just maybe also for the viewers, or at least so that I know where to share some of these things. Where will this air, and where can people learn more about what we're discussing here?
Well, it's on Consolidated, their Access Channel 18. We're going to be very strong on social media. We're going to post episodes on there. And eventually there's a network in North Dakota. I can't say yet who that is, but we will be statewide before too long. And so just follow Western Edge Living on Facebook. We will be sure to tag Legacy Square. We try to do that with all the guests, accommodate, bringing that community together as we stated. And social media will be a huge venue for us, as well as, and we want to thank Consolidated for giving Western North Dakota this opportunity to talk about things like Legacy Square, to talk about the Southwest Arts Gallery and Science Center and places like that, the new church in Belfield, the pet food pantry, Medora, of course. So I hope that answered your question. We're growing, and with the help of Legacy Square, we'll piggyback and do this together. How's that sound?
Great. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, Bill. Thank you.
We appreciate you coming in. Joel David with the city of Dickinson. Joel Walters. I know your stage name is Joel David.
There you go. Yeah.
I gave away a secret. I'm sorry. But anyway, if you would like to be on Western Edge Living, get a hold of us on Facebook. Get a hold of us here at Consolidated. We'd love to tell the world about what you've got going on here in Western North Dakota. I'm Bill Polinick. This is Western Edge Living.
Great. That's a wrap.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Holy cow. There's
was the
some of
goal?
that you can chop out. Obviously, we're going to have